Hey everybody, what's going on? This is George coming at you with another video, and hopefully you can hear me okay. I have the mic about 6 inches away from me, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, so it's been a while since I've actually put my face on any of the videos, and I felt like this was kind of the occasion to do it. A couple of weeks ago, I think about 4 or 3 weeks ago, I passed my Cisco Certified Entry-Level Network Technician certification. I guess I said certified, I guess twice, but anyway, so I got the CCENT certification by Cisco, and it was something that I had been working on for months. I was working on it for about a month. I went through CBT Nuggets videos, and I did a little bit of reading on the internet, but then I was going out there trying to get job interviews with other companies. For those of you that don't know, I'm just about to graduate college in about a week, and there was a lot of internship / job opportunities to take out of state, and I applied for them. However, they were jobs that I didn't really desire. They weren't in networking or in server related things, so it was more like data jobs, and that's not exactly what I was looking for. So anyways, I went ahead and put the CCENT on hold, and I decided to take a break from it. About 2 months later, I came back to it, studied for about a month, took the CCENT exam, and passed it the first time. And I'm so happy I did. It's probably... I was so proud when I learned that I had passed the CCENT exam. Like, it was... Like, look, I'm about to graduate from college. I guess I don't know how it's going to feel like the day that I actually get the degree, but the day that my Cisco certification certificate came out, and that same day that I knew that I got certified, felt really good, and it's indescribable, you know, because it's something that I pretty much did on my own. Other than, you know, CBT Nuggets, it helped out a lot. Jeremy, if you're listening, I'd like to thank you now. You did a really good job with your CCNA videos. And I'm looking forward to your second version for the upcoming exam. So I might be doing the CCNP as well. So what a lot of people ask me, I have friends of mine also in the IT field that ask me, you know, how did you do this? How did you manage to get the certification? A lot of my friends in college don't have any IT certifications at all. Or some that are expired, and Cisco is the first one that I attempted. Knowing that it was a difficult one, they thought it was pretty impressive. So let me go ahead and try to share some of the things that I did. That way I can maybe give back to the community and hopefully help you guys out in passing the exam. So the first thing I did was, like I said, I got myself a CBT Nugget subscription for $99 a month. I paid for 1 month. I went through all the videos with Jeremy. However, I did not have any rack rental rack equipment at all. I had GNS3, and I didn't feel like I was really learning too much. But I went through the videos, took notes and everything, and took some practice questions that I would find online. Just kind of these questions that really didn't have much. Well, they were valid, but they weren't exact like they would be on the exam. Which is fine. I mean, practice questions are practice questions. But like I said, I stopped. And then when I decided to come back in, I decided to, before that, I was going to go ahead and buy myself some equipment. So I bought myself 2 routers. I bought myself the 2 2611 routers, with each of them with a 1T WIC card. Of course, the serial adapter that's attached to both of them, the DCE DTE cable. I got myself one more router, solely for the purpose of using SDM, and also for, well, the CCNA requires trunking ports on routers, so it's a good thing I got that as well. So I had that, the 1721 router. I had to buy a extra WAN interface card, but it was really not a WAN interface. It was just Ethernet. I think it's called a 1ETH. Don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure, but pretty much that 1721 only has one fast Ethernet port, and I wanted to use it for NAT and distributing my internet connection. So I decided to throw in one of those extra module Ethernet ports, and that worked just fine. And I got myself one switch, the 2950 switches. It's a 24 port, and it worked just fine, 10 by 100. So that was what I used. Of course, I got my USB to serial port connector for my computer here, because most computers don't come with serial connectors anymore. And of course, my rollover cables, a couple of crossover cables, straight through cables, and that was about it. Oh, and a USB to Ethernet network card. That way I can have my internet going while I also have my computer connected to my home network and also to my lab. So that's how I separate the two. So once I got the equipment, I had a hard time trying to figure out how to get everything going. But I found a website online. There's a lot of help, and I got somebody to help me out, and I was able to set up my equipment. So now I was ready to go ahead and dive into the CCNA again. So I decided to look up Jeremy and pay for another month, and I did. And this time I actually went through the labs. Once I went through all of Jeremy's stuff, I decided to go ahead and pick up a book, and a lot of good reviews on the 7th edition of the CCNA. This is Tom Lamley's book, and I picked this one up mostly actually for the CD that comes with it. Didn't prove to be that useful. There's some practice questions on there and some online flashcards, but other than that, nothing really useful in that CD, to be honest with you. But the book was really good. It's really down to earth, and although it may seem really big, it's actually quite readable. I'm actually reading some of it right now because I am currently doing my CCNA, which is scheduled for Wednesday after, well, I guess not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. So yeah, after I finished reading the sections of the book that were in the CCENT exam, I looked up Chris Bryant, and I decided to buy his CCNA course, on the BryantAdvantage.com website. It was $44. I thought it was worth it, so I bought it, and I went through all the CCNA content. After that, I felt really confident because he goes into detail about a lot of the things. I couldn't have done the CCENT without Jeremy. I really couldn't have done it because he really made it, his personality, man, just made it real unique, and it felt like he really cared about his students, and he just kept me entertained throughout the entire series. So I like to thank Jeremy for that. I like to thank Chris Bryant for the in-depth content that he goes into, and that definitely helped out with some of the more advanced questions that was presented to me on the CCENT exam. So yeah, well, once I did that, I said, okay, well, now I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to kind of just try to go through practice questions. Every day I would try and get on my routers and switches and start configuring different things. If I had trouble, the next day I'd do it again until I was until the labs became second nature, until it got to the point where I was just typing in things out of memory. So once I was ready, I decided to schedule my exam as soon as possible. Like, it was a Monday that I said, you know what, I'm ready to schedule. I scheduled it for Wednesday. I didn't let much time pass in between then. It's tempting to want to schedule it a week ahead, but once you think you're ready, just try to schedule it as soon as you can. So that's my recommendation. And when you're in there, be prepared to get everything taken away from you. You can't wear watches, which kind of threw me off. You can't take your wallet. The only thing you can take is your ID, and no pencils, no nothing. So one last thing, when they give you the markers and this little board that they give you for anything that you need to write down for the submitting questions, just make sure the markers work. So really, I mean, just relax, get a good night's sleep the day before the exam. If you know it, you know it. I mean, and if you don't pass the exam by a couple of points, I would say just reschedule it for maybe the week after that. Go home, study for a little bit. Don't get depressed about it. It's $125, and I know it's a little steep for some people. But I tell you, man, I feel like this certification is worth it. And right after I finish up with the CCNA, I plan to get some Microsoft certifications, maybe the MCSA, perhaps the MCSE, and also learn a little bit about Linux, because that's something that I know Unix and Linux is used out there in the corporate world, and that's something I need to learn about, because if that's the kind of thing I want to go into, it's good knowing a little bit about everything. And once I finish the CCNA and I feel like I really want to advance in networking, perhaps I'll go for the CCNP, and then at that point I'll become really valuable at that point. So yeah, so that's just my advice, guys. If you guys have any advice for anybody else, be sure to post it down below, and if you like the video, a rating is much appreciated. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all later.